It was just like any other ordinary day. I woke up, took a deep breath, and jumped on the computer. It was editing day, the time where I now have to compile all of the projects I just recently captured and edit each one, minute by minute, hour by hour, and sometimes even day by day. This one particular project had an upcoming deadline, and I've already spent too much time on it. So, I started with this one first, the twerk video.
Right, surprise. You didn't know I am.
Now, before you start judging me, please understand that as a professional videographer, this type of environment with women dancing is normal. There's no need to go into the history of music videos right now because that's what YouTube is for. You can look it up yourself. But that's beside the point. The reason I'm showing you this is because this happens to be the last place I was before my whole life changed. We worked on these clips for at least 2 hours in this tiny space. Now I know what you're saying. I should have known better, but unfortunately for me, I didn't. You could say that I was one of those naive and ignorant people who thought COVID was just a cough and a sneeze.
What the fuck is happening to me? 1 minute I was fine, and now I don't know what the hell is going on. My lower back is in so much pain. Shit! Thank God wifey's here to help me. Babe!
Babe, can you please get me some water? I'm so thirsty. And that's how life continued for the next few days. I laid in this bed and she took care of me. With each day that went by, calls were coming in. Clients wanted to know where their projects were because they haven't heard from me. So I would instruct my wife on what to say and what to do in those cases because I couldn't come to the phone. My energy was totally gone, and now it became harder to breathe. Sunday night came, and my pastors called. They were really worried about me. My wife put the phone on speaker as they heard my scratchy voice for the first time in days. Hearing that really scared them, so the questions got more personal around my health. That's when I confessed to them that the reason that I wasn't going to the hospital is because I don't have health insurance, and I didn't have it for 7 years following my incarceration. That was big for me because I never tell anyone my personal business. This went on for about 30 minutes, and then they said they would call right back. And they did. This time, with another doctor on the phone. They said that this man would now be my primary care doctor from here on out. And the first thing that I had to do was get medical attention. And from there, the plan was made. The pastors told us to meet them at a rapid COVID clinic at 7 a.m. the next morning to test me for COVID. We were up at 5 the next day and made our way down to Boston to meet them. Upon parking, the pastors immediately pushed their faces up against the glass where I was laying down in the passenger seat in our car and said to my wife, "This is a bad idea. He needs to go to an emergency room instead of getting a COVID test right now." So they led us to Beth Israel Hospital and stayed with us until we got to the lobby where they said no one can come in with me. And then it was just me. Doctor after doctor, test after test, blood sample here, blood sample there. I was connected to just about everything in the room. I literally couldn't move on the bed for fear of ripping something out of my arm. Everything was a blur, except when they finally came to deliver the news that I indeed had COVID, and it has caused pneumonia in my lungs. I called my wife and told her. Then I passed out. The only two things I remembered after that was a female doctor asking me if I wanted to be part of a trial study and receive a dose of plasma to help fight the COVID in my body, to which I said yes. Who would say no? And then the male doctor who was in charge of me gave me two choices, either to be admitted to the hospital or to continue battling this at home. I immediately blurted out, "Home." I didn't want to be in no hospital. For all I knew, they could be the ones that are trying to kill me. And then, as if the doctor heard my thoughts, he said to me, "Lee, you could die at home." And with all the energy I could muster up, I sat up on my elbow and looked him in his eyes and told him that my wife won't let me die. He said okay and left the room. I was back at home in bed, feeling a little bit better than the day before, but still fighting COVID. My wife immediately took action and moved all her belongings into the living room. We didn't want her catching this disease, so she completely separated herself from me. That was actually fine for me because all I needed was a TV to watch. And that's what I did every night and every day. An entire week went by and I was still doing good, sitting up a little bit better in bed, but still not eating whole foods. I was only drinking tea, soup, and green smoothies at the time. And then suddenly, that Sunday night, November 1st, I started to feel something in my chest again. Thought it was the pneumonia flaring up, so I just took some pain meds and ignored it until the next morning.
The pain is worse. The pain is worse. Call the doctor, pain is worse, I said. Numbers dialing, hearing the familiar ring. Will he pick up? I could no longer bear to feel this thing, this sting. Times 100, all over my chest. Hello? Yes, doc. I'm all jacked up and my chest is burning. Yearning for that good old morphine and oxy combo. That's not good. Yes, I know. You should come right in. Say no more. Bags packed, keys in hand, headed for the door. Is all you hear coming from the passenger seat. As cars fly by, foot on the gas, third lane tires generating heat. I'm beat. Right now, COVID is winning. 12th round, 30 seconds left, in the corner with my head spinning. We have to admit you know shit, Sherlock. Stevie Wonder could have told us that. This type of pain need a heavy sedation with a side of crack. I meant oxy. Whatever, it's the same difference. Got me hooked up to these machines, hands in the air hoping for a deliverance. Blood clot. What, doc? You Jamaican? No, that's the diagnosis from the x-rays taken. It's unusual. So many all at once. You need blood thinners, painkillers, and a breathing tube. Nah, I need Jesus, dude, is what I whispered as they wheeled me off to my permanent room. It was deja vu all over again. The smell of latex in the air, a cold room, and several strangers poking me with needles and shit. I wondered, is this it? Is this how my life ends
in a hospital room alone? Where is God? Is all that kept going through my mind. Why is all this happening to me? I've done nothing wrong. And suddenly, my thoughts were interrupted by a nurse who went by the name of Haley. She introduced herself as my daytime nurse with a big smile and a reassuring attitude. I thought, she's different. And as that moment registered in my mind, there she was, standing directly next to me and reaching out to touch my shoulder. I see you're not scared of me, I said. Not at all. What's there to be scared of? And from that point on, Haley was my friend. She came into the room often to remind me to order food or just to check on me because I never pressed the red button for anything. And one day she actually sat on the edge of the bed to hear more about my life and my profession. I showed her pictures from weddings that I took, and she even talked to my wife briefly as I was on FaceTime with her. She was always on time with my pain meds, and she made life in that room totally not suck. After a few days, the doctor came to visit and said that I was making progress, and it looks like I could go home the next day, Thursday. Awesome, is what I said. I called my wife and told her the news. I was excited and ready to go back to my comfortable bed. At that moment, I took a nap. I woke up to Haley bringing in my food tray and also my afternoon dose of medication. She told me that she was getting ready to clock out of her shift and that she wanted to make sure I was taken care of before she left. As always, I told her I was fine. Thank you. After about 30 minutes or so, I started to feel the pain in my chest again. I couldn't understand why, because all week the pain had subsided because of the strong meds they've been giving me. So why am I feeling this now? It's really good right now. For the first time ever, I pushed the red button. How can we help you, Lee? Can someone please give me some more pain meds? I'm in a lot of pain right now. We'll send Haley in right after she finishes with another patient. Okay. Oh, wow, I thought. I didn't know Haley was still here. Word. I know she'll take care of me. After a few minutes, Haley came through the door and asked, "What's wrong?" And by this time, the pain was much worse. And I was in tears as I responded to Haley. "What else can you give me? I'm hurting real bad." I could see in her face that she was really worried. Then she said she'll contact the doctor to find out if there was anything else they can give me. As we waited, the pain grew worse. On a scale of 1 to 10, this shit was at a 20. I was breathing really hard and sitting up and moaning in tears as this pain attacked my chest. Haley finally came back and had 2 additional oxycodone pills in her hands. This would make my total dosage for that afternoon 3 pills, which was dangerous. But I didn't care. I needed it. After giving it to me, Haley looked me in the eyes and said she had to go, but she'll see me first thing in the morning. I shook my head, and she left so worried. Shit. I'm worried too, is what I thought. What the hell is this? I laid down and tried to let this medicine work, but nothing, absolutely nothing was happening, other than excruciating pain. I slammed that button again, and this time, in a firmer tone, I said, "Please send me more meds." The nurse replied back, "Lee, we can't give you anything else until 4 hours from now." At that moment, I snapped. I yelled back, "I can't wait 4 fucking hours! I'll be fucking dead! Do you hear me? Dead!" At this point, I was irate mad. I slammed the pillow in front of me and just started screaming at God. "Is this fucking it? Just kill me! Kill me already! Stop playing these games and just fucking do it! Why do I have to suffer? What did I do? Just kill me! Oh! nurse's bell dings. "Lee, is everything okay?" To which I replied, "I'm talking to God!" and slammed my hand against the button. The screaming eventually turned into sobbing tears and indescribable words. And then darkness. I passed out from all the energy that I exerted in that moment of anger and possibly all the drugs they gave me. Suddenly, it was Friday morning, and all I could think was, am I dreaming right now? I thought I died last night. How the hell am I still here? I sat up in the bed, and surprisingly, there was no pain. The hospital was quiet, and the sun was out. Turned on the TV to make sure I wasn't dreaming. And then a short time later, a vital sign nurse came in to check my vitals. Okay, I thought, I'm awake and still alive. Around 8 a.m., my pastor calls to find out how I'm doing and if I was well enough to join him in a meeting to speak to the new person that would be filling in for me. I agreed. While waiting for the meeting to start, I also received a visit from my doctor at the hospital, who walks in with a quizzical look on his face. I mute the television and wait for him to speak. He asked, "How are you feeling right now?" And I say, "Fine." "Why, what's up?" I sit up more in the bed as if that'll help me hear him better. At this point, the meeting is started on the phone and I have them on mute. The doctor then says, "We took an EKG reading of your chest last night while you were asleep. I'm afraid I have some bad news. 25% of your lungs died. That's why you were in so much pain. It turns out that one of the blood clots had moved and clogged an artery to that area of my chest, depriving it of oxygen and blood." I was numb. My pastor eventually told me that this is actually the same thing that happens in a heart attack. "Wow," was my response, followed by silence and several silent tears. Later on that day, I was released. Although I went through all that stuff, I was leaving in good spirits. I got to see Haley one last time as she pushed my wheelchair downstairs to the lobby where my wife was waiting for me. It was finally time to go home and recover.